Have you ever put on an outfit and thought, why does this look so frumpy? Especially in the summer. You're wearing clothes you like, there's nothing technically wrong with it, and yet something just feels off. I don't think it's that us women over 40 suddenly forget how to dress, but a handful of small styling choices that add up. So today I'm going to share with you some things that I won't be wearing to avoid looking a little bit frumpy and some small changes that can make a big difference. And the last category, I think a lot of us unknowingly do. Hello friends, welcome. Let's dive right in. Before I get started, these are my recommendations of things that I think can lean a little bit frumpy. But if anything in any of these categories is something you love to wear, then absolutely wear it with confidence because style is so personal. So the first category of items are clothes that throw off our proportions. The first specific example of this are capris. Now, capris have their place certainly in the summer, but I think we need to be really careful with where those pants are ending on our legs because I think it can easily turn an outfit into frumpy. Anything that is ending mid-calf or above sort of cuts us off in an awkward spot on the leg. And I think that can easily look pretty awkward. So I would recommend instead to focus on things that are more ankle length or just above the ankle. That makes your legs look a little bit longer and doesn't just cut you off at a really awkward spot. The next specific example of something that really can throw off our proportions are heavy, chunky shoes with shorter pants, like a capri or even an ankle length. So think about your really heavy, chunky sneakers and then a pant that ends just above your ankles. Visually, when you're looking at that, you sort of see a cutoff point above your ankles and then a little bit of skin and then a cutoff point where the sneaker hits your ankles. And that sort of disrupts how your outfit looks. Instead of a shoe that ends at your ankle, wear something that kind of streamlines your eyes down almost to the end of your foot. So that would obviously be some type of a sandal. If you're not into sandals, ballet flat is another great option. This gives a little more of an elongated look, and I think it looks a lot better for the whole outfit. The next summer clothing item that can really throw off your proportions are Bermuda shorts. This is a little bit subjective and I am sort of contradicting myself because I did just do a video about summer dressing items that I hate and what I'm substituting instead. You could check out that video right here if you want. And I do mention in there longer length shorts being a great option. And I still stand by that. But Bermuda shorts can quickly go frumpy depending on the length. When a short ends at your knees or a little below your knees, it cuts your leg right in half visually. That can very easily start to look a little bit off. If you're doing the longer shorts, go a little bit above the knee, even an inch or two where you still can have that long length and that coverage if that's something you're wanting, but it's not cutting your leg off right at that middle spot. That just makes the outfit look a little more balanced and pulls away from that slightly frumpy looking length. This next category is a little bit subtle, but I think once you see it, it'll make a lot of sense. And that is clothes that work against your body or emphasize areas of your body that maybe you'd rather not draw attention to. In summer specifically, very tight fitting clothes can emphasize, for many of us who are over 40, areas of our bodies that we would rather disguise or camouflage a little bit. So some specific examples of this are tight-fitting white bottoms. When we're wearing white, it draws your attention more to the item and to your body in the item versus being a little more disguised and camouflaged. That bright white tightness can draw attention to those more challenging areas. So instead of the really tight white, something that has a little bit more movement in it. I have these white jeans that I really love and they're nice and fitted like on the butt and in the tummy area, but then they have a wide leg and they're a lot more forgiving on the thigh area. And I feel like in white, that's a much more forgiving style. Going right along with that, another specific example that I would avoid are really tight fitting denim shorts. We've all had these shorts that are really tight and fitted on our butt and in our tummy, but then on the thigh area, they are really fitted and tight there as well. They used to have a lot of them with like the rolled cuff up. What that does is emphasizes our midsection. It emphasizes our thighs. Everything is just so fitted. So I always opt to size up in my denim shorts. That gives a little more flexibility and obviously comfort. It has a little more of a relaxed look without looking oversized and too big. When the leg opening is a bit wider than your actual thigh, I feel like it makes the thigh look a little more slim. This next category, I think a lot of us can fall into this, not even realizing it. And that's clothes that compete for attention. This can age us quickly and make us look a little bit frumpy. The first specific example of this are heavily distressed denim shorts, or just denim in general. Very heavily distressed denim can draw our attention away from our face and just a classic timeless outfit and make us really focus on a specific item of clothing. Avoiding that can really update our look a lot. So the obvious alternative is just to wear a more traditional, classic denim that just doesn't have a lot of distressing on it. The next one I debated whether to put in here because it's a little bit subjective, and that is avoiding dated florals. Florals can easily go frumpy and they can also look very timeless and classic. If you have a very bold floral that you've had for many, many years and is a little bit of a cheaper fabric, I would say be careful with that because that can quickly age us and lean in the frumpy area. Replacing it with a solid or a neutral can quickly update our outfits. If you're gonna go with a floral, do maybe a little more of a modern cut in that item and make sure it's a very classic floral because that's gonna look a lot more updated. Before I go to the next category that I think is one that a lot of us struggle with. If you like content similar to this, consider subscribing. I post videos like this often. This next category of clothing I find to be the most common, both for myself and when I see other women dressing in the summer. And that is wearing clothes that hide you. Comfort should not become camouflage. We shouldn't be camouflaging our bodies. We should be celebrating them in ways that work well for our personal style and our personal bodies. The two specific examples where I see this happening all the time, and I have certainly done this, are what I call the tent top and the tent dress. So first, the tent top is that shirt that fits us on the top, but then kind of goes out in an A, just like a tent would. There's a lot of fabric. There's usually quite a bit of length. And it's so appealing to us because it covers our midsection, which for some of us is a struggle. I deal with bloating and tummy issues all the time, so that's a continuous struggle for me personally. But what happens is all that fabric going out in that A shape makes our waist look bigger than it is. This goes frumpy so fast. It is so appealing because it's very cool in the summer. So what do we do instead? There's a couple ways that we can lean away from this. The first is a super easy solution, which if you have a little bit of a bigger, looser top, to do even the slightest half tuck in the front. This visually defines your waist, even if it's just in one small spot at the very front. Another option is to have something that has a little bit of a defined waistband on it. Even if it's looser on the top, if it kind of nips in with a little bit of a waistband, again, that gives your silhouette a little bit of a waist before going out into your hips. My favorite option that I feel like is the most disguising of your midsection, if that would be your goal, is a third layer. And this is tricky in the summer because of heat, but finding either a long sleeve or a short sleeve button down that is either a linen or a linen look shirt and wearing that unbuttoned on top of something a little more fitted. So if you have a more fitted tank top underneath, then that layer on top is not going to be super heavy and hot, but unbuttoned, you can still see that waistline, but the majority of your midsection is covered with that third layer. So I personally, if I have a really bad tummy day, love this option. It makes me feel the most secure while still being cool and without drowning in my shirt. The next specific example of clothes that we lean into to hide behind is the tent dress, or what I call the tent dress. Just like the shirt, we start more fitted at the top and we go down into like an A shape or a tent shape. This just makes our whole body look wide. Again, it's super appealing because it's very cool and airy without any pressure or emphasis on our midsection, but I don't think it's flattering. You can so easily create a less frumpy silhouette by leaning into something that has a similar concept, but somewhere in the dress has some definition. I have this specific example of a dress where it has kind of the ruching and the fitted part on like above my belly button up to my chest. And that isn't a problem area for me, so I don't mind it fitted there. But as soon as it hits my belly area where I can get inflated and uncomfortable, there is a lot of loose fabric and it kind of goes out into the skirt. So that gives definition to the upper part of my body while still giving me the coolness of a less fitted skirt. If you do have an all loose dress, just a very thin tie around the waist. You can have a looser top and a looser bottom and just a little bit of definition. This can also visually just look a lot less frumpy. Which of these areas do you struggle with the most? Leave it in the comments below. We all struggle and we're all trying to find our way through the heat. And I love hearing from you guys. I hope these tips on ways to avoid frumpiness in the summer were helpful to you. If it was, please give it a like. And thank you so much for joining me. As always, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.